Welcome to another video. A lot of people have been asking for us to do a pros and cons of living in Norwalk, Connecticut. And a lot of people have been asking me to bring my brother back for these videos. And here he is.
Hey, how you guys doing? My name is Mr. Esparza, and I am happy to do this video of pros and cons of Norwalk, Connecticut.
And a lot of things have changed since we did the last video. The last video, we did it about a year and a half to 2 years.
Yep.
And what's some of the things that have changed?
Well, some of the things that have changed in the last year and a half is prices have continued to go up. It's a lot more expensive than it was a year ago. Even it's a lot more expensive than it was a year and a half ago. Also, there is a lot more traffic in Norwalk, Connecticut. How do I know? Because I live in Norwalk, Connecticut. A lot more traffic. Things are more expensive in the area. So everything has gotten a little bit more expensive, and also more traffic, so more people in the area.
And those are some of the things that have changed in Norwalk. But let's wait no further and let's get right into the pros and cons of living or moving to Norwalk, Connecticut.
So the first pro of living in Norwalk is the proximity to New York. Norwalk, Connecticut is about an hour from the city driving with no traffic. So that's very close to New York City. Also, you can take the train, and that's a pro that we're gonna speak more about a little bit later in the video, but very close to New York City.
And one of the biggest pros of being that close to New York City is the jobs.
Yep.
Usually, a lot of places you cannot charge too much for your work, especially if you work as a plumber, as an artist. But since New York City is one of the biggest cities in the whole world, there's so much money flowing in New York that all these jobs pay a lot more than it would in a small town per se. So that is a big opportunity of living in Norwalk, Connecticut. It's the fact that you can live there and you can travel to New York City every day and work and make New York City money, but live in Norwalk, Connecticut. That's a big advantage. One of the biggest cons of living in Norwalk, Connecticut is the cost of living. The cost of living continues to increase, and this is because houses there are continually appreciating, and that is because of the proximity to New York City. Not only that, Norwalk has a good education system. So a lot of families that move there stay there because Norwalk has everything. It has nice restaurants, it has good parks, so it's really a mix of everything. And what do you think is causing the cost of living in Norwalk to increase drastically?
As my brother was saying, the cost of living in Norwalk is always increasing, and the main reason is how close it is to New York City. A lot of people that work and live in New York City are deciding to move to Norwalk, Stamford, Connecticut, and those areas are seeing a lot of appreciation because even though people are moving to, let's say for example, Norwalk or Stamford or another area in Fairfield County, they're keeping their jobs in New York. Therefore, they can afford to pay more for housing. That's the reason that a lot of the locals are having a tough time competing with the New York buyers, because in New York, the wages, the salaries are higher, and you gotta compete against that if you wanna buy in Norwalk, Connecticut.
Another big pro of living in Norwalk is the economic opportunities. And we were just talking about this, but the biggest economic opportunity of living in Norwalk is that you're close to New York City, Greenwich, Westport. These areas is where a lot of wealthy people live, and they need a lot of services like lawn care, like pool services, construction. So when you go and bid on one of these jobs, these people are willing to pay more for the quality of work that you might provide. So this is a big opportunity for people that live in Norwalk, Connecticut. And what do you think is driving one of the biggest economic opportunities in Norwalk, Connecticut at this moment?
Well, the biggest economic opportunities are because, again, close to New York City, a lot of money in New York City, the greatest city in the world, as a lot of people would agree. A lot of wealthy people live in New York City. A lot of wealthy people live in the boroughs of New York City, and a lot of people also live in Fairfield County. Therefore, if you're a small business owner that is gonna service these clients, there's an opportunity to create a great service and a great company, and this client base is gonna pay for those services, and they're willing to pay more for better. That's the biggest opportunity that I would tell a small business owner. There's people in this area that are willing to pay for the best, so become the best. Every great city has its cons, and Norwalk is no different. Even though Norwalk is beautiful, people love living in Norwalk, there is a lot of traffic. So if you're gonna work in the city in the morning and you're gonna head out at 9 a.m. or let's say 8 a.m., you're gonna catch traffic. In the afternoon, during rush hours, you're gonna catch traffic as well. Very important for you to know this. There's a lot of traffic. That's why a lot of residents of Norwalk and the surrounding areas decide to use the train, because there's no traffic on the train and it's a great service. So especially for residents of Norwalk or people thinking of buying a house or moving to Norwalk or even Fairfield County, the good thing about Fairfield County is that throughout most of Fairfield County, there is a Metro North. So commuting every day to New York City is not that difficult, but traffic is really bad, and that's a con.
And I just want to talk about the traffic, because it's not only bad right now, it seems to be getting worse. The more and more people move to Connecticut, especially the Fairfield County area of Connecticut, it's just increasing the traffic. So if you're thinking about moving to Norwalk, just expect to catch traffic, especially if you're commuting. And also if you're taking the train, expect to go on a train that is filled to the top. Because I don't know if you remember, when we used to take the train back in the day to go to college, the train was always filled with people.
Yeah.
Especially in the morning, especially in the afternoon. There's no seats, so most of the time, depending on what stop you get on, you're gonna be standing up for 20 to 30 minutes until people start to leave the train.
100%. A lot of people. There's a lot of people in New York, and there's a lot of people around the New York City area and also Fairfield County. It's a highly dense area. So what I mean by that is there's a lot of people in a very, very small space.
A huge pro of living in Norwalk, Connecticut is that you're close to the beach. And a lot of people, especially people that live in areas where there's no beach, they want to move to a place where they can go work out at the beach or enjoy the beach in the summer. And Norwalk, Connecticut is perfect for those people, because they have a pier where you can go fishing, you can ride your bike, you can play volleyball, and overall, the beach and the waterfront access of Norwalk, Connecticut provides people with activities to do in the summer. What do you enjoy the most, or you think most people should know about Norwalk having a beach?
Well, one of the most beautiful things about having a beach nearby is that you can go and take long walks in the afternoon. And you can also go with your family. They can play in the sand. If you have kids, they can go in the ocean. You can go in the ocean as well. So it's always great to have it around. And it's even better to have it around and actually enjoy it. So for those people that live near the water, if you enjoy going to the beach, go and enjoy it. It's there for you to enjoy.
One of the biggest cons with living in Norwalk, Connecticut, and it's something my brother doesn't enjoy, is the weather in the winter. Mm-hmm. It's extremely cold and there's not much to do outside.
100%. So I tend to enjoy things that I do outside, and I don't tend to enjoy the cold weather. So I'm biased in this. I don't like long winters, and we do have a long winter in the northeast of America. It lasts about 6 months. I don't enjoy it. I even thought of moving to Texas at some point, maybe somewhere else where it's warmer. I went, I traveled, I didn't like it that much. I like Connecticut a lot. I like the lifestyle a lot, but the weather is something that if I could change, I would change it in a second.
If Connecticut had better weather, it would probably be a more popular state.
I think so. I love Connecticut. I love everything about it, but the weather, not something that I enjoy too much.
A big pro of living in Norwalk, Connecticut is the cultural amenities and the diversity. In Norwalk, Connecticut, you have people of all different backgrounds. You have Hispanic, white, black, Asian, Indians. You have people of every culture. So if you'd like to be in a diverse place with a lot of different cultures, then Norwalk is a place. You also have a lot of different restaurants with all these foods. So that is another big pro, especially if you like to enjoy the food of different cultures. And what do you think about the cultural diversity that Norwalk has to offer?
There's a lot of culture diversity in Norwalk, and also a lot of that is influenced by the close proximity to New York City. Something that can be both a con and a pro of Norwalk, Connecticut is the public transportation. The good thing is that we have public transportation. We have a lot of buses and we have a lot of trains, but the issue is that it's always filled. So it can be a little bit tough to use public transportation because it's usually gonna be a little bit uncomfortable because it's so filled, especially during rush hours.
I think you made a great point. The good thing about Norwalk is that we have the transportation systems. The issue is that since so many people live in these areas, is always filled, and it can be a little bit uncomfortable to jump on the train. And even if it wasn't uncomfortable, you might not want to take the train because you know in certain hours you're gonna have to stand up for 20 to 30 minutes. Good thing that we have it, but the con is that in my opinion, we need more of it. One of the biggest pros of Norwalk, Connecticut is the education. And there's very good schools in Norwalk. The other thing is that in the area where there was a bad school, that school is getting rebuilt. So as we speak today, there's a new school going up in the rougher side of Norwalk. And it's not even a rough side, but it's the rougher side of Norwalk. This is a big pro because it shows that the city of Norwalk really cares about their education. Instead of ignoring the old school, they decided to build a new school that's gonna be a state-of-the-art facility. And this talks a lot about the city of Norwalk because they're really investing in the children of Norwalk, Connecticut by increasing the education in Norwalk, Connecticut.
The biggest con of Norwalk, Connecticut is that in every single lot that's available to build a building, they're doing buildings. There's a building that they're just finishing up for like 150 families, and they're building another one for around 300 families. What that's gonna cause is a lot more people are gonna come into Norwalk, and that's gonna increase the traffic, and that's also gonna increase the price for everything because now services are gonna be in higher demand. And that's the biggest con in my opinion because everything's gonna increase in price, more traffic, and Norwalk, Connecticut is gonna become more like New York City, sadly, but that's what's gonna happen. The way I see everything unfolding is all Fairfield County, all Westchester, and all New York City, they're all gonna be very similar. Prices are gonna be very similar. It already almost is like that, but I think it's gonna happen to a greater extent.
And that's a huge issue. So right now there's about those 2 buildings. There's also about 3 more buildings starting to be constructed, and there's probably more permits out there that are waiting to be approved. What this is gonna cause is the transportation system is gonna have more traffic. The 95 is gonna have more traffic. A lot of these cons that we mentioned in this video are gonna become even worse. Also, all these new people moving in and all the new buildings are gonna cause Norwalk to become more expensive. So if right now you're priced out of the market, just wait a year or 2 when all these buildings are finally developed. Norwalk is gonna continue, in my opinion, to increase in prices. And in no time, it's gonna be a place where only upper middle class or wealthy people can live. Who do you think is going to be able to live in Norwalk in, let's say, 5 to 10 years?
In 5 to 10 years, and it almost already is like that, but it's going to be upper middle class, where either one person makes about 120 or more a year, or a couple both work and they each make about 60 to 70K a year. Because if you don't have that type of income, you're not going to be able to live comfortable in Norwalk or in even Fairfield County because everything is expensive.
Because even Bridgeport, to buy a single family in Bridgeport right now in a nice area, what's the cheapest that you've seen?
A single family, in Bridgeport, you gotta be paying about $400,000.
And what's the payment? Put in 3.5 down right now on that.
That's gonna be around $3,000 to $3,300 a month. So with utilities, you're looking at about $3,500 to like $3,700.
And we're speaking about the cheapest city
in Fairfield County.
In Fairfield County, and that's not. I wouldn't say that's affordable.
It's not affordable. It's not affordable for somebody making 50 or 60K a year. It's not affordable. That's why you need 2 incomes, or you have to make about 120 a year.
And things are just gonna get worse, most likely.
Yeah, I don't see it getting cheaper. There's a high demand for housing, and there's not a lot of people that want to sell at the moment.
Thank you for watching the video. If you're thinking about buying or selling a property in Connecticut, especially in Fairfield County and New Haven County, give me and my brother a call and we'll be more than happy to help you. Like always, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thank you.
See you guys. Bye.